How's it going, everybody? It's Master1994 here, and today we are going to talk about the state of the Holy Priest in rated arenas. As always, there is a table of contents in the description below, so you can go ahead and take a look at that, and you should find exactly what you want to see. So in my last video, I discussed a potential Holy Priest guide, similar to my Discipline Priest guide. However, I still do not feel comfortable in arenas as holy, simply because I feel like it underperforms. As you may know, the Holy Priest is the lowest rated healer in the arena ladder at the moment. There are only a few DPS that are performing worse than the Holy Priest, and there are even a few tank specs that are doing better than Holy, which I thought was pretty nuts. So instead of making a guide video, I'd like to discuss the experience that I had playing as Holy and what I learned, and I'd also like to quickly talk about the changes that I would like to see to the Holy specialization to make it more competitive in rated arenas. As we are discussing the Holy Priest, we're going to watch some Discipline gameplay at about 21 to 2200 MMR. And if you would like to see my rated Arena Discipline Priest guide, there will be a link in the description below. These games that we're watching were part of my climb back to the Duelist rating after tanking some rating as Holy, and I expected to lose rating at first, of course, as I was learning the build, the learning curve, but I tanked a lot more than I expected. So without further ado, let's get started with the review. Let's start off on a positive note with the pros of the Holy Priest. I think one main benefit of playing Holy is the burst healing. Your main burst healing ability is Guardian Spirit, which prevents your target from dying by instead bringing them up to 40% health upon receiving a killing blow. However, the major part of this ability is that 60% increase to healing received by the target. This combos very well with your Holy Word Serenity. With this combo, if you crit and the stars align, you can heal your teammates for as much as 120k with a single global, which is pretty amazing. On top of this, if you take the talent Guardian Angel, the cooldown of Guardian Spirit is reduced to 1 minute if the death prevention is not procced. And since you are burst healing with Guardian Spirit and Holy Word Serenity, that death prevention doesn't proc very often, so you get a ton of value from this talent. You also have the PvP talent Spirit of the Redeemer. This ability activates your angel form and lets you free cast for 7 seconds, which can help you keep teammates alive through burst damage. This isn't as much of a burst ability, but this leads into the second benefit of the Holy Priest, which is CC avoidance. Spirit of the Redeemer prevents you from being targeted, so other than a few exceptions, you generally can't be CC'd or interrupted. You also have other PvP talents such as Holy Ward, which lasts for 30 seconds and is on a 30-second cooldown and basically soaks the next CC that you take. You also have Greater Fade, which makes your Fade ability last 4 seconds, give you a mobility boost, and make you immune to most abilities. And you can still be interrupted during Greater Fade, but most CCs will miss you. Lastly, you have a tad more CC compared to Discipline. You have Holy Word Chastis, which is a 4-second end cap or stun if you spec into it, and you also have more access to your Mind Control. Since Mind Control and Psychic Scream are your only shadow spells, it's okay if you cast Mind Control and get interrupted. At that point, you can just free cast Holy spells. So spamming Mind Control on non-kill targets to CC enemies and bait those interrupts is actually a pretty strong tactic, and utilizing Mind Control more was one of the largest learning curves for me playing as a Holy Priest. Sadly though, that's about the end of the pros for the Holy Priest. One major con to playing Holy, which I think is the backbone of Holy Priest's problems in rated arenas, is the lack of sustained healing. Holy has pretty strong burst healing with Guardian Spirit and Holy Word Serenity combos, and Renew is a decent heal over time ability, but the majority of your single target healing is going to come from Flash Heal, and Flash Heal is just not the best, to say the least. To put this into perspective, if you have played Discipline, Think of that time where you just got out of a CC chain, you just got locked out of holy spells, and your teammate is dying. You're having to spam Shadow Man to keep this teammate alive, and if you get CC'd one more time, or you get interrupted again and locked out of Shadow as well, your teammate could very easily die. Sadly, this is actually a better situation than what healing as a holy priest feels like most of the time. So Shadow Mend has the dot debuff, but there are ways around that. The dot doesn't stack, and the dot goes away if your target takes a small amount of damage. So if you spam Shadow Mend on a teammate that is taking damage, the dot debuff is pretty much a non-factor. Also, taking into consideration that Shadow Mend is on a separate lockout from your discipline healing spells, and Flash Heal is a holy spell, just like all of your healing spells as a holy priest, which makes getting interrupted a much bigger threat. Lastly, note that Shadow Mend actually heals for about 40% more than Flash Heal. So that awful situation that I just described as a discipline priest where you're having to spam Shadow Mend is actually better than a lot of Holy's normal sustained healing. So yeah, Holy sustained healing feels pretty awful right now. Because of this, Holy is also much more susceptible to being the kill target. You have tools to keep yourself alive for a bit, but the majority of your sustained healing is a weak casted heal, which is Flash Heal of course. Because of this, melee cleaves are pretty rough to play against. If you're the target in general, you're having a hard time. Lastly, compared to Discipline, you just lack the damage and extra utility, such as Discipline's Dark Archangel, and the cons definitely seem to outweigh the pros when it comes to the Holy Priest. So I think we all know what my opinion is of the Holy Priest in rated arenas. I don't think it's very competitive. I think it underperforms way too much to enjoy, especially when you're getting towards 2K rating. I think at its core, the Holy Priest is fun to play with, but you're just losing so much, you're just underperforming so much that it's hard to enjoy. That being said, I think Holy could become a competitive healer in rated arenas relatively easily. I think a flat increase to a lot of Holy's healing in PvP would help a lot, and like I said earlier, I think the backbone of Holy's problems is the lack of sufficient sustained healing. However, I would also like to see some of the PvP talents possibly become baseline. PvP talents such as Inner Focus, which basically makes the Holy Priest immune to interrupts for 5 seconds, and maybe the Spirit of the Redeemer, which we talked about earlier, would be very helpful as baseline abilities, causing Holy to be more of a CC avoiding healer without making the specialization too strong. I think the Holy Priest being a strong healer with CC avoidance, but not having a ton of CC or damage, would make for a very interesting healer in ranked arenas, and I think it could be easily tuned in a way that would make it competitive, but definitely not overpowered. As it stands right now, I only really had success with comps that could wreck an enemy early on, such as Turbo Cleave. And even then, obviously I felt like my teammates were winning the games for me, and I didn't feel like I was really contributing to the team. So these are my thoughts on the current state of the Holy Priest in rated arenas. I came up with this opinion playing with the Holy Priest after I got duelist rank as a discipline priest. I basically switched to Holy, learned the spec, and tried to do some threes, and I sadly lost more games than I won. I wish I would have felt more comfortable enough with the spec to make a straight up guide instead of a review, but I hope you guys still felt informed, and I hope this video was entertaining to watch. Let me know what you thought about this video, as it's my first video that is more of a review than a guide. I wasted about a week trying to get comfortable enough with Holy to make a guide video, but I just don't feel like it's strong enough at the moment, so I thought it would be interesting to tell you guys about my experience. Also, let me know what you would like to see in the future. I'm working on a holy paladin guide as well as some other priest videos. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time.